I've gotten a lot of requests for this one. Wooper is pretty much the birth of my channel name, being that Woopsire is a combination of Wooper and Quagsire. So I figured it was about time to bust this one out of the vault. Also, it's always nice to take a break from running Sword and Shield, so that's why today we're going to be taking to Johto in Pokemon Crystal to ask ourselves the question: how hard is it to beat Pokemon Crystal with Wooper? I've been itching to take a trip back in time, and I figured this was the best way to do it. As far as rules go, we've only got 3. We can't use items in battle, except held items of course. We can't evolve our Wooper, and win. Also, I'm not sure if I'm going to do Kanto in this run, as I'm writing this before I start, but we'll see how Johto goes. If I have any hair left, we'll figure it out then. Anyways, since you guys have been smashing the like goals as of late, let's play a little risque with this one and aim for 1,000 likes. And as always, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So right off the bat, before we get into the run itself, let's take a look at the legend Wooper. Wooper's stats aren't anything stellar, with a base stat total of 210. Fun fact, Wooper shares this with 3 other Pokemon, those being Tyrogue, Igglybuff, and Bounsweet. Anyways, its attack is definitely better than its specials, but it's okay, we can work with that. As far as movesets go, Wooper's surprisingly got a good one, starting off with Water Gun and getting Earthquake at level 31, and it gets access to some great TMs, so I think we're going to be just fine. Now, let's get into the actual run. So our journey starts off like any other. We use the universal randomizer to insert Wooper as our starter, then dive right into our journey. We pick boy, of course, and name our main protagonist Woop. Mom gives us our Pokegear, and I decide to set the day to Tuesday, partially because I started the run on Tuesday, and also because
Tuesday, isn't it? Mom
gives us the lowdown on our new iPhone X, and we jump on over to Elm's lab and grab ourselves a Wooper. We name it Sire, because together we are one, Woopsire. We try and do some grinding over on Route 1 to net us a few levels and such. Die a couple times in the process before I realize I can reduce the Geodude population in the route above, and proceed on over to Mr. Pokemon's house to do Elm's dirty work. After we grab the egg, we actually have our first rival battle, which I will say I might have been a little over leveled for, but hey, I'm using a Wooper, alright? Cut me some slack. Even with the level advantage, it was still a long battle, but I managed to come out on top. Heading back to Elm's lab, we name our rival Cal, after my bestie Cal. Aww. And proceed to hand over the egg. Making our way to Violet City, we take on some trainers, battle some Pokemon, and eventually arrive at the gym. I figured I may as well just skip Sprout Tower, for obvious reasons. And it's time to take on Falkner. Getting ready to face Falkner, I was a bit worried, I will say, because my moves were Water Gun, Slam, and Tail Whip. The gym trainers were taken out with relative ease, and at this point, Slam is doing me well. Its only issue is the fact that it misses so much, but what are you gonna do? Anyways, Falkner leads off with his Pidgey, which actually takes a big hit from Slam and gets finished off with Water Gun, just because I didn't want to risk the miss. In comes Pidgeotto, which gets Water Gunned and then Slammed. Slam does a bit more damage, so I opt to go for that again and actually get a lucky crit, which probably might have ended up saving me. Otherwise, I probably would have lost that one. Falkner ends up giving me TM31 Mud Slap, and I have a Brain Blast moment. I teach it to Wooper since it's a stab move, and also Wooper's base attack is higher than that of its special. Mud Slap is also going to help us out with reducing accuracy, so that's pretty helpful. Moving on, I immediately run south, but I'm also immediately reminded that I'm not allowed to go because I have to go pick up this egg. Continue on with my journey. Wipe out most of the trainers in this route, navigate through Union Cave here, and we find ourselves in Azalea Town. I get a little lost because it's been a bit, I'm gonna be honest, and I get lost quite frequently, but hey, that's what Google's for. We go on a little shopping spree, then hit up Kurt, descend into Slowpoke Well, and put Team Rocket in their place. We admire this Slowpoke for quite some time, and then move on to take on Cal. We got a little lucky with RNG this time, but still ended up losing. So after recouping and recovering, we take him on for round 2. Things go a bit better this time around, until they didn't, and we die to Croconaw again. But the third time around, we get a bit luckier with our own RNG, but it's still not enough. So at this point, I just decide it's time to call it quits and go take on Bugsy. Bugsy's gym trainers were pretty easy to take out. I did get poisoned a couple of times and have to run and heal, but it's okay. We eventually make our way to Bugsy. They lead off with a Metapod, which immediately gets slammed by Wooper, doing a pretty decent chunk of damage, and is finished off by a Water Gun. Out comes Kakuna, which ends up poisoning me, but Otherwise it goes down with ease, and out comes Bugsy's creme de la creme, Scyther. We go for the slam, and it does a pretty decent bit of damage. Nearly on our deathbed though, we get really lucky and land our next slam as a crit, taking out Scyther. The RNG luck was pretty apparent there, but a win is a win and we take that. We then go heal up, and it's time for our rival rematch. We clean Cal's clock, grab our HM for cut, grab the TM for headbutt as well and teach it to Sire, and push on to Goldenrod. Here in Goldenrod, we pick up our next very valuable move, TM33 Ice Punch, giving us an edge against enemy grass types, and it's also going to be super useful for late game. So we clear out Whitney's gym trainers and take her on. Taking on Whitney, I will admit at the start I was a bit terrified. We all know about Whitney and her Miltank. She leads off with her Clefairy, and I decided to just go for the headbutt. I do a pretty decent bit of damage, and Metronome lands on Drill Peck, and we eat that. I finish off her Clefairy, and out comes Miltank. She starts off her rollouts, and I decide to go for Mud Slap to drop the accuracy a bit. She ends up missing, thankfully, and from there it's a matter of whittling her down until we take it out. Just when I think we're in the clear though, she milk drinks, but it's okay. From there it's a matter of figuring out what combos will keep her from healing but also letting us live, until we actually just end up getting the crit and securing the victory. Heading on from Whitney, it was heavily requested that I attempt a bug catching contest.
Do the bug contest, please. It's the day. It's Saturday. It's Saturday.
So we did that, end up dying trying to catch a Butterfree, and carry on. We get the squirt bottle, making this Sudowoodo moist, forcing it to run away. Well, actually, it attacks us, but we kill it and move on. Arriving in Ecruteak, we knock out the Tower Story, clap Cal, meet Ucine, and get ready to take on Morty. So the gym trainers here all went down with ease, since in Gen 2 abilities weren't a thing yet, so I was free to mud slap away at all these Ghastlies and Haunters. My battle with Morty took a few tries, and I ended up having to go level up Wooper to level 31. So it was really just 2 levels, but you know, leveling Wooper up to level 31 let me teach it Earthquake and then go back for the rematch. The problem is his Gengar would just put me to sleep and then Dream Eater me to death. Going back this time around, we take Ghastly down with an Earthquake, then his Haunter, which he sent out for some reason, then his Gengar, which actually ended up missing Hypnosis, and finally taking out his last Haunter, netting us the Fog Badge. If I was a little bit smarter, I would have planned a little bit better around trying to go for the miss while keeping Mud Slap so I didn't have to grind Wooper up, but still, it was 2 levels, and I don't know, I don't feel bad for it. From there, we do some more story, pick up Strength, talk to Jasmine to find out Amphi isn't feeling too well, and head on down to Cianwood City. I actually ended up switching emulators here, so the video quality looks a bit different, that's why, but if I'm smart enough, I'll figure out how to fix it in editing. I also realized at this point, I didn't even have Surf to go to Cianwood, so I went back and grabbed that, then headed to Cianwood, grabbing the secret potion, taking down the mystical man Ucine, shoot down this guy trying to pawn off his Shuckle, and head on to take on Chuck. I really tried my best not to Earthquake my way through this gym, so I decided to headbutt his Primate, get a lucky crit, and then out comes Poliwrath. I headbutt again, and then I just decide to get EQ, get Hypnosis, and pull myself out of the trenches to take down Chuck. A lengthy battle, but not a hard one at all. Following that, I grab the HM for Fly, teach it to my trusty steed Togepi, and head on back to Olivine. Give the secret potion to Jasmine to give to Amphi, because apparently I'm just not good enough, and proceed to take on Jasmine at the gym. Jasmine, I'm not gonna lie, was pretty much gonna be a cakewalk. I Earthquake the Magnemite, and then take down the Steelix, and finally Earthquake the last Magnemite. I think this was the easiest gym battle thus far, and I'm not complaining at all about that. My real goal here is red anyways at this point. From there, I head on out to the Lake of Rage to quell the raging beast. I actually tried catching it, but it didn't want to stay, so I just killed it off. Also, I can't believe we found our first shiny in one of these challenge runs. After this, we agree to help Lance out with the not-so-secret rocket base, clear that out, realize that these stairs say ESF, and save the day. Now that the gym is open again, it's time to take on Price. If you know me, you know there's one thing in this world I hate, and that's puzzles. So luckily my friend JD is an expert in Gen 2 and was gracious enough to guide me through this. Legend has it, if he didn't help me, I'd still be there to this day. Taking on Price, he leads off with his Seal, which goes down to an Earthquake. Dugong clings on with like 1 HP here, ends up using rest, then finally goes down. And Piloswine was taken out with a combo of Ice Punch and Earthquake. I'm not gonna lie, at this point I was feeling a bit OP with Earthquake and, you know, being such a high level and all, but then I reminded myself that the level curve in this game is something else. After our victory against Price, we knock out the last true bit of story, aka saving the director at Goldenrod, heading back to Eckerteak, take down Suicune, make our way through Ice Path, and finally arrive at Blackthorn City to take on Claire. Remember way back when we taught Wooper TM33? This is 100% the reason why. We pretty much Ice Punch our way through each of Claire's Mons. We also don't one-shot any of the Dragonairs, surprisingly. The biggest challenge of this gym is Kingdra, which doesn't die to an Earthquake and nearly takes me out. But living on 15 HP, we managed to clean up and finish it off. We go get the badge and conclude our journey through the Johto gyms. So let's jump on over to the Elite Four. I drop off my HM slaves in the PC and get ready to face our biggest challenge yet. Maybe. Not actually. Will was pretty easy. With the right bit of RNG, we managed to pull through with 2 HP on Slowbro, and managing to somehow KO the Xatu for our first win. Koga was pretty much a sweep with Earthquake, adding in some Ice Punches for the flying types. Bruno was another mix of Earthquakes as well as Surfs. Karen was also pretty much a mix of Earthquakes as well. I had a little trouble with her Vileplume pedal dancing me, but once we got past this, the battle was a breeze. Also, I love the fact that Karen, a Dark-type Elite Four member, has a Vileplume. So Lance actually gave me quite a bit of difficulty. I just could not for the life of me take him down. I kept getting blasted by Hyper Beams every attempt. I eventually figured out after maybe 10 tries, I just needed to outspeed the Dragonites. So I boosted myself up a couple levels and then came back for revenge. Even after that, it took a couple of attempts, but on the winning run, we get a lucky crit on the Ice Punch, eat up a Hyper Beam, drop the Dragonites with Ice Punch, take down the Aerodactyl with a Surf, and manage to do the same to Charizard, crowning us the champion of the Johto League. But our journey doesn't stop here. Despite everything in our journey so far, the run's been relatively easy, and I can't give you guys content if it doesn't cause me pain, so let's head on to Kanto. So I'm actually going to cut most of Kanto because the battles were pretty easy and nothing I really feel worth mentioning happened. One thing to note right off the bat is in Crystal there's a move tutor who will teach someone Ice Beam for 4,000 coins. So you already know we cashed in on that. I was super worried about Erica, but I didn't remember that the level curve in this game was so gnarly. So after getting Ice Beam, we set off on our journey through Kanto, and for that, it's montage time. So as you do with any montage, I joined a Discord call and asked my friends for some help with sound effects. This is what we got.
Take turns. Bro. Please put me in the description.
My battle with Blue was something truly special. I was around level 70 and I have no idea how many tries it actually took to get me to take this man down, but it was a lot. Probably at least 15, maybe 30. It was all a matter of RNG and getting really lucky. His Pidgeot was easy as it always wing attack turn 1, would almost die to an Ice Beam, and then either mirror move me or wing attack. Exeggutor always used Solar Beam, so that wasn't a problem as I was fast enough to just Ice Beam it twice. After that, it was just a matter of survival. I lost count of all the runs, but here's a short montage of me dying over and over and over again. On the money run though, this was something truly magical. The battle starts like normal, take down the Pidgeot and Exeggutor, take out Alakazam with an EQ, eat the Hyper Beam from Gyarados, and start building up rollouts. This is magical though. We live with 1 HP from the Arcanine, take it out with rollouts, and, well, I think this pretty much explains everything.
That's an anime moment.
Beautiful, isn't it? After this long and stressful battle, it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. Red. I don't even know where to begin with Red. I tried at level 75 and I knew that wasn't going to cut it. So I grinded up to level 91 and then that didn't cut it. And then finally made my way to level 100. This took about 45 tries, maybe more, maybe less. But eventually I get my strategy nailed down. I needed Pikachu to quick attack me and not charm me, because if I was charmed, it would set me up for failure. Honestly, from there, it was a matter of not dying to Espeon or Snorlax, and actually just the rest of his team. On the winning run, Pikachu misses Charm, Venusaur goes down as usual, we eat the Psychic and Espeon does not set up Reflect, Snorlax drops, we eat a Surf from Blastoise and take it down, eat the Flamethrower from Charizard, and take it down with Surf. Thus concluding the epic and long and brutal battle with Red. All in all, I'd say this game was surprisingly easy to smash through with a Wooper. With Wooper's moveset, the lack of abilities, disgusting level curve, there were only 3 really difficult battles, that being Lance, Blue, and Red. So honestly, I'd have to say this was relatively easy.